A few weeks ago, I had a conversation with a very smart and wise man, who just so happened to be my dad. And in that conversation, we were talking about me going back to work. And, going back to work is always um, an interesting process, regardless of your situation. When you leave one situation and you go into another one, there's always like some questions that you ask yourself and um, things that you have to take into consideration. I always have a hard time saying that. I don't know why. Take into consideration. Okay, I got it. So, and but for me, um, these past years, um, it's been even more complicated than it used to be because of my health situation. So I've been asking myself a lot of questions every single time and considering not only if the job was right, but if the place was right and things like that, which, as I said, can be part of the conversation for everyone. But I'm just speaking about my experience right now. So bear with me. So I'm having this conversation with my dad and I'm talking to him about, going back to work. And and then he said, you're struggling a little bit with your confidence right now, but it will be back. Just give yourself some time. It will be okay. And when I heard that, I immediately started feeling hot and bothered, and I could feel my bottom lip starting to stretch. Like, what you talking about? You know? Thank God that was on the phone because African parents do not like when their kids start stretching that bottom lip. So I was on the phone, so I was safe. So I started feeling those emotions and I was like, what is he talking about? I'm like, I mean, I mean, I haven't lost my confidence. But then something came over me. I didn't say anything. I just said, yes, like almost, yes, sir. Okay. But then as he kept talking, I started being like, okay, 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 okay. And when I hung up, I thought about it and I was like, could it be? Is it is it that? I mean, why were you feeling that? Like, why are you so bothered and so um, defensive when he said that? It was just like, and the reason there's probably several reasons, but one of them is the same reason as the one I talked to you about in another video when I was talking to you about medication, and when my doctor said to me, um, he said, I appreciate the way you manage, your symptoms most of the time, and that you're able to manage with that medication for the most part and all that, and then you're able to weather the storms. But when you have those type of flare-ups like the one that you just had, I would feel more comfortable if you had the option of taking something if you really needed to. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't want to. And I explained to you that it was because um, I used to take a lot of medication. They were efficient. I mean, most of them were, but I was taking so many of them, and I had to manage also not only like the actual problems, the actual symptoms from the conditions that I had, but also the side effects from the medication. So some of the medications that I was taking were because of the side effects of the other medication. So that was a lot. And I was concerned about the long-term effects of some of those medications on my liver, on my, my digestive system, all kinds of things, because, that's what they tell you. And also, overall, like you're just taking so many things. I don't know. To me, it felt a bit, a lot. And I was just thinking about like long term um, consequences of taking that much medication, and they were just powerful also medication. So there was that, and being able to stop almost all of them and being able to manage without was also victory for me, a sign of progress, a sign of things, getting better. And they are getting better. So the idea of having to start taking medication again felt a little bit like a setback. Like, okay, you're not actually getting better. It's not true, but this is how it felt in a moment. So, and also I had like the I was a bit worried about like becoming dependent again, as it happened before, especially with the opioids. And so all those things. But also it was just like, ego. I told you about that, um, the fear from it. And so I I caved in at some point, and I just said, okay, so I have the prescription now. And before I continue on the topic of, that last conversation with my dad, I have to say this week has been very difficult. And I ended up having to take one of those pills yesterday, actually, because the pain was really, really bad. Um, so, and I did it, right? I think I remember telling you in the other video that the next step, the first test was, okay, accepting to get the prescription, and then actually going to the pharmacy, getting it, and then having the medication at home. And then the second test would be, once I get one of those either flare up or something really bad happening and I need something, would I actually take it? Or would I be just like, no, I can do it without it. That's fine. I'm good. Actually, it was really, really bad. So I just took it. So I passed the test. I think in my mind, I passed the test. So that same kind of logic, that same thing that was stopping me a little bit from, um, you know, taking the medication in the first place, is also the same type of thing that is that triggered me a little bit when my dad talked about confidence, because I struggled with confidence for a long time. And I would say from the age of 9, 10 to my mid 20s, I had, or maybe like if there's something under that, like below, that's what I had. I'm laughing about it now, but it was not funny. So once I found it, I I was good, and I was just going for things. And so just the idea of feeling like I may have lost it was like, no, 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 no. I'm not accepting that. And actually, it's just like with the meds. It's not, that doesn't mean anything. A crisis of confidence is absolutely normal. It's absolutely something that happens. It's like when you're happy. I'm a happy person. That doesn't mean that every single day I'm like this. Although I'm a lot like this, I'm not always like this. So you can be happy and have moments where, you know, things are not going well. And you sit with those emotions as well, the unhappy emotions, you sit with them. And it's the same with gratitude. I'm a very grateful person. And that's what I do first thing in the morning, last thing at night. I express my gratitude. But there are moments where, I'm, you know, struggling with the pain. I'm just like, I'm feeling like I'm about to die or something like that. It's hard to find gratitude in those moments, even though I'm like, yeah, I'm still alive, but it's not good. It's not good. So anything, basically, you have it, you're gonna keep it, but that doesn't mean that it's not gonna do like this the same way as my health is doing like this, right? So that's what it was. At the core, it was really what it was. I was like, I didn't want to hear that I may have lost something that it took me so much time to gain. And but he was absolutely right. I definitely am struggling with the crisis of confidence. And in my everyday life, I am also a little bit, because I think I mentioned it to you before, because I'm not sure from one moment to the other what I'm capable of doing, what I'm able to do. And it's hard because you define yourself with certain things, what you're capable of doing, what you know you can do. And then when you find out that you cannot do those things anymore, or you have to do them differently, it kind of changes the way you see yourself a little bit. And it certainly changes the way other people see you. And the people who don't know what you're going through, they have a certain idea of what they think, because they only know what you're presenting in that specific moment. So they don't care about everything else that was happening before that, right? They don't know that other version of you, those other versions of you, they don't know that you do. And so that's when it's hard for you. So with work, it's really that now, because in addition to deciding, okay, is that job interesting to me? Is that place interesting to me? Do I kind of like what they do? But also, can I do the work? Not only that, but can I do the work the way I used to be able to do it, the way they would want me to do it? Or am I going to need to ask for accommodations? Am I going to need to ask for like changes to be made to the role so that I can do it in a way that's going to be good for me, but also good for them? And also, what type of organization is it, right? Are they, can I even have the conversation with them? What's on paper about disability, about accommodations, is that actually what they feel, and or how they feel and what they practice? Or is that just theory, like words that anybody can read? So, and what does it look like once you're in it? Like, they can say things because they want you to come, but then once you're an employee, how is that going to manifest? And how is that collaboration going to play out? And it's very difficult because it's already hard without those things to start somewhere, no matter where it is, no matter what type of work you're doing, because you have to get used to the place, you have to get used to the rhythm, you have to get used to the people, to the work, everything. And but when you had I'm sorry, when you add those things, it makes it even harder, because you really wonder if there's a place for you somewhere where you can not only survive, but thrive and actually build something. I'm still very, I was always driven. Even when I didn't have confidence, I was always driven. And mostly I was driven by the the idea of not disappointing my parents, my brother, everybody who believed in me. And there were so many people who believed in me before I even had an inkling of what it meant to believe in myself. And I never wanted to disappoint them, because they had so many, like, a lot of aspirations for me. They had big dreams for me. And I didn't think I could do any of those things. Um, but I kept pushing, because it was like, they think I can do it, so let me just go ahead and do it. And I was an overachiever. I always managed to do those things, but it was at a high cost for me inside, because I was really struggling. But once I found my confidence, then you add their drive, the drive that they had for me, plus the drive that I now had for myself. Those two together, unstoppable. You can tell me nothing. I was just go, 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 go. And it worked. It really worked. But also sometimes it was too much. Like, I was doing a lot. And but that person that I met after all those years of not believing in myself, when I started like becoming really that person and going after things that really mattered to me, I I'm still that person. It's just a different version of that person. And it's very hard to reconcile the drive and the inability to do certain things the way I used to do them, or inability to do them altogether. And this is very difficult. So I'm still adjusting. I'm adjusting to those things. And every single time I have to start a new job, there go those questions again, those considerations again, those fears, those doubts. And they get very loud. They shake you. They shook me. I didn't realize how much they did until my dad said what he said. But he was absolutely right. And so then I was just thinking, okay, now that I know, now that I accept that this is my reality now, that this is what I'm going through, what am I going to do about it, right? Because I have to do something about it. So I, the hardest thing I think is not knowing what you're stepping into. If the situation is not only like you don't know if the situation is going to be good for you for all the things that I said, like if it's the right job, if it's the right fit in terms of the organization and what they believe in and things like that, if you can do the work, and you don't know any of those things until you actually step foot, even if it's virtually, like you get in there and then you're like, okay. But then also things can change, right? And then also now your body start telling you things and you're like, oh, sorry, I just forgive me. I'll bleep it maybe, or maybe I won't. So it's you. My biggest thing is if it doesn't work out, it's not just okay. It's not gonna work out, and then I can just walk away unscathed, like nothing happened. Move on to something else. A lot of the times, because of my health situation, when it doesn't work out, it leaves me on the ground. Like I have to be picked up and I have to recover, and it's gonna take time. And I'm tired of learning the hard way, those lessons. And I have to figure out how do I go into those situations and thinking, because I still have to take chances like everybody else. Like nobody is ever going to go into a situation knowing every single thing, because you just don't know. But when you have to take into consideration the way your health might be affected by the decision that you make, there's a little bit more pressure. And this is what I'm feeling right now. And so these are the things that I I have to think about, I have to work on, and I have to remind myself also that it's never going to be a perfect process. I'm never going to know in advance how things are going to play out. I can only make decisions based on the information that I have, do the best that I can, listen to my body as much as possible because it's really talking to me all the time. And it's up to me to really listen, but also decipher what my body is trying to tell me at any given moment, right? Because sometimes the signs are not as clear as you think they can be. So that's what it is. Still doing things, thinking a lot, but not too much so that you just block yourself and you prevent yourself from even taking one step into that in that direction. And I so that's where I'm at, right? Taking a leap, going in, being gentle with myself, remembering that I'm still me. What I can or cannot do doesn't define who I am. That everything that I continue to do, every moment that I continue to try is a win. And that's what I have to continue to build on. And it's going to continue to be a process. Whether you're struggling with health issues or not, this is something that I want to offer because I think it can apply to pretty much anyone. Be gentle with yourself. I have to be honest. I'm not always the gentlest with myself. I've become much better than I used to be because I used to be horrible to myself. Thank God that's changed. So, but you really have to be. You have to give yourself grace. And you have to know also that there are going to be errors. There are going to be things that you're going to say, oh, I should not have. But then rebound from that. Once you realize, okay, that was not the right decision, what do I do next? So that's what I'm going to do. And if you're in that situation, if you've been in that situation before and you're worried that might happen again, think about that. Think about how you would approach that situation differently this time around. Um, and also, if you have any experiences that you want to share with me about situations that are similar or maybe completely different but has to do with like a crisis of confidence, I would love to hear about them because they can help me first of all, but they can also help anybody else who's watching this video and reading the comments. So I'm really grateful as always, for every single one of you for watching me week after week. And I really appreciate the newcomers. If this is your first video, I hope you come back again. Please, like, comment, share it, do whatever you want, basically. But I'm really grateful. So I thank you, and I will see you in the next video. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.